Went back to see the Phillies back in my hometown. Back to Philadelphia before the sun goes down. Wanna get back there to the ballpark lights. I gotta see the Phillies, what a beautiful sight. Gotta go cheer 'em on, help score some runs. We wanna make the Phillies number one. I want you to tell everybody that I'm leaving today. I'm going back to Philadelphia, PA. I'm going home to Philadelphia, back in old PA, to see the greatest team in the USA. Wanna laugh at the fanatic doing his thing. Wanna stand up for the anthem, hear the people sing. I love to shout, it's out of here, that's one they never catch. I even love to do the seventh inning stretch. I want to tell everybody that I'm on my way. I'm going back to see the Phillies today. I'm going back to Philadelphia. I've been living my dream. Back to catch the Phillies. They're my favorite team. You know, I've been to the East. I've been to the West. But Philly has the team that I love the best. I can live without the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's true. You can keep on Chicago and the Red Sox too. I'm going back to the place where the Phillies play. I'm going back to Philadelphia, PA. I want to tell everybody that I'm leaving today. I'm going back to Philadelphia,
Welcome, everybody. Joe Quills here with you on this Wednesday night. And yeah, I am going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Brain fart came to me, and I was like, let me find this file. So I did find that file. I didn't find the other one I'm looking for. Well, I'm actually looking for a couple different files, but I got so many hard drives and computers that I don't know where half the crap is. So I do apologize for that. And we are starting a little bit late tonight, even later than what I expected. And part of that has to do with the fact that my internet went out right before the show started. So had to check on everything. Everything was okay. So we're okay. And, I thought at first that we were going to have this kind of a night. But instead, we are ready to go. So we're going to have some fun here as we always do here. And, we'll get through the night here. Don't think this is going to be that long of a show tonight, but, a lot of times when I tell you guys it's going to be a short show, it ends up being 2.5. Whoops. So, we'll talk a few things here, and if something comes up between now and then, we'll get to it. Just pulling up what I need to pull up here. Just to let you guys know, we'll talk a few different things here. John Morant may be in trouble again with the NBA. Looks like the file that I found is found. So okay. Joel Embiid finally set for knee surgery. I'll give thoughts on that. An update to also eligible. I purposely put it in that segment of the show. And then we have not one, but two stupid shit that I saw stories that are both college baseball related. So we got some stupid sports shit stories that I saw. So however you want to fix that alliteration, feel free to do so. And we'll get through it here tonight. And, and I do apologize. My internet was starting to go out on me there. Um, so let's get to it here. So, it's had a nice off day today. Starting to get some things done around here. Will it be done by whenever? No, because nothing ever gets done, or it seems like one thing ends up being gets put away. One thing gets done, and then eight other things. Uh, you know, putting out fires as they call it. You put out two fires over here, but there's six fires over here. You got to attend to as a result. So, but things happen, and hopefully I can get everything done over the next couple of days. Even though I'm working this weekend, so we'll get to that. Um, so Phillies did win tonight, 5-1. They're now 4-1 on the year. That's why we began with Bobby Burnett's going back to Philadelphia, PA, and Phillies lead the NL East here in the very early going. So don't, I'm not even worried about that right now. I did hear an interesting stat here. Um, the Braves are playing the final game of their road trip because I think they play at home on Friday night. And the Dodgers come here on Friday, weather permitting. Well, they'll be in town. It's just a matter where they'll be playing. But that'll be that Friday game will be a Apple TV game. And those that are watching that have Apple TV and watch those games on there, um, it may be a good opportunity to watch the game and listen to the Phillies radio broadcast if those announcers really annoy the hell out of you. And I'll give them guys a couple of innings before they annoy me. So, and it all depends who the announcers are as well. So, um, but Atlanta plays the last game of their road trip tonight in LA. They're playing right now. Atlanta's actually up 5-2 right now, bottom of the third. Um, and just random thoughts here. Um, Atlanta scored two in the first, three in the second. So right now they're up 5-2. They're 0-6 right now, and from what I think I read earlier today, and the number may be off. Like instead of two, it's three. Instead of two, it's one. From what I read, only two or three teams have started out 0-6 and made it to the postseason, and one of them, the last one, was Tampa Bay in 2011. I do remember that part. So Atlanta has dug themselves a big hole. Um, but you have, even though you still have 156 games left, including this game that's in progress, you got a lot of trouble in Atlanta right now. But here's the interesting stat here, and we'll see if the Dodgers do come back or not. No team in Major League Baseball history, and this is amazing to me, no team in baseball history has started the season 0-7 and has made the playoffs. Whether it's 140 games, 154, 162, nobody has started out 0-7 and made the playoffs. Now, this Atlanta team could be a team that breaks that if they do lose tonight, but they got all kinds of problems right now. It seems like they did wake up a little bit today so far with 5 early runs off of Blake Snell. So, but wow, 5 runs, yeah, and it was apparently those 5 runs were all um, comedy errors because Blake Snell has given up 5 runs, 0 earned. So, but I just turned the game on once I got my internet back up because I'm streaming it through my TV here. But um, but yeah, that's an interesting stat there that in the 150 years of Major League Baseball, even though technically You look at 1903 to the present, because the first World Series was actually in 1903. At least I think it was 1903. Um, Nobody has gone 0-7 and made the playoffs, even with the now expanded playoffs. And it's kind of hard to lose seven in a row to start the season, because the way that baseball is, you win what, a minimum. I mean, most teams, will win at least 60 games, and like one of my friends said, the way baseball is, you win 60, you're guaranteed to win 60, you're guaranteed to lose 60. It's those other 42 games that make the difference. Now, don't say that to Colorado Rockies, who lost over 100 games last year, Chicago White Sox, who went 41 and 121 last year. But the White Sox right now, they're still in last place, but they're 2-4. But and actually, they're tied for first place at 2-4 with the rest of the division, because everybody's 2-4 right now. But yeah, it's um, interesting to see what happens with the Braves, because of the fact that they have gotten off to a slow start. And the thing is, you can argue it's just playing the wrong teams at the wrong time, and also just not getting off to a good start because you're shorthanded in the outfield or whatever. But they are up 5-1, 5-2 here after 3 innings here. So, but that's an interesting fact that you can file away right now. Mickey, welcome in. Long time no see, man. Hope you're doing well out there. Um, you know, the way that I look at everything, you know, even if you go 0-7, you still got 155 games. So, um, but we'll see what happens with that as we get through the season here. But the Phillies did win tonight. They're now 4-2 in a year. They hold a game lead over the Fish, the Miami Marlins, right now, even though we still have a ton of baseball left here. And thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. Um, oh, no. Hope you feel better, man. Yeah, because, all kinds of stuff is going around right now. I'm just thankful that I haven't gotten it, especially with vacation coming up in a few weeks. Still have to nail down my plans. I've got to talk to AJ. I forgot to call him today because I got sidetracked with, some of the stupid stuff I was doing during the day. That I had to run to the store and all this other stuff. Um, so, you know, and oh, by the way, one thing I do want to mention. I mentioned last night, because I did not have a show on Monday night because of the weather. Um, I did have the Phillies game on from the beginning tonight. And remember when I said that the new ad board behind home plate? Well, it's one ad board that stretches all the way around home plate for the most part. I mean, you have the parts where, you got to leave spaces where the clocks are so we can see the countdown clock on the sides. And you got to have 18 different clocks because, oh, the clock wasn't working. No, it was working. It was right there in front of you. But the one thing I will say is, even though we haven't seen it yet, and part of the game I wasn't really paying attention because I was watching the Bleacher Brothers show. Um, there was um, I did see that board stretches apart. So that brick wall that used to be exposed is no longer exposed because it's one big LED board. Because they have the wraparound LED boards around the upper deck, the facing of the upper deck, from right field to left field. So they do have an LED board there. Um, so be interesting to see what happens when we see a few wild pitches and it goes into that general area where the bricks were exposed. Now the bricks aren't there anymore. You have that board that LED board, and we'll see how that affects the game because you'll probably no longer have that situation where the ball hits the bricks behind on the backdrop behind home plate and shoots right back, and the pitcher's got to field that ball off of the wall because guess what? It's coming back at you at probably the same speed that it hit that wall, about 100 miles an hour. Bing, bing. So, but um, it is a bit of a change here. A lot of changes at the ballpark. We talked about it on last night's show, and we'll get into that. We'll get into more baseball stuff as we go along. But one thing I do have to say is I don't really talk about basketball too much. And sometimes I, I mean, it's not about LeBron. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's like there's only so much stuff that you can consume in one sitting of watching TV. And and also my evenings are packed every Monday through Thursday night, 9 to about 11 p.m. Eastern. Um, so we do, so I'm very busy. I work my real job till 7:30, and then I take a little bit of a break from everything. I eat my dinner. I start doing the final preps for the show, and you know, um, basketball and hockey do get a little bit of the shaft for me, but I'm not afraid of bashing LeBron James or his evil sidekick Queen Latifah. That's when he starts complaining and flopping and getting hurt and all that. But apparently, John Morant has not learned. Um, if you remember, um, back in 2023, Morant was suspended. March 2023, he was suspended for um, partying at a suburban Denver nightclub um, while he was brandishing a firearm on social media. That broke a couple of the NBA rules. He ended up getting suspended indefinitely, which turned out to be 8 games. Then then he was suspended for the first 25 games of the 23-24 season for conduct detrimental when he was seen flashing a gun on an Instagram live with one of his buddies. Actually, one of his buddies' Instagram. So now I don't know what the recourse would be here, and I haven't seen anything new about this. Um, but last night during the game with Golden State, John Morant was using his hands and arms to mimic shooting a gun toward the Golden State Warriors bench late in Thursday night's game between the Western Conference rivals. So, does he just not get it? Um, what would be the case here if somebody else was doing the finger gun salutes and stuff like that? But it does seem like that they did punish them on the court during the game um, because Warriors guard and former Sixers legend Buddy Hield, and once again, you have to understand my sarcasm because that is a bit of sarcasm. Buddy Hield is Sixer legend. Um, Buddy Hield um, made a gesture like that ahead of John Morant's finger guns motions. So the league is going to probe both cases here. I guess you can call it one big case here. And they'll talk to the parties as soon as earlier today. I haven't heard anything new with this, so I don't know if this could lead to a suspension, but I mean, probably a fine, especially for Buddy Hield, because I don't think he's done anything like this. Like he's had any disciplinary things like this before. But you did have John Morant, who has two different cases of um, brandishing weapons, like he did, and like I've said in the past, with my experience of being in a union and being a union rep at Redacted Company, um, you know, there is a thing as progressive discipline. So if John Morant is going to be suspended here, or, does it fall under what he did in 23 when he had those two separate incidents over a short period of time? Or is this something that falls into a different category? Because usually when you have progressive discipline like this, if he got 25 the last time, what's he going to get this time? 35, 40, 45? But it seems to me that this may be in a different category because it's not an actual gun. It's the finger gun salute that he was doing. So, but I think with his past history, I think that maybe he's going to get something here. I mean, something a little more than a fine or a slap on the wrist. I think sometimes your past history does go against you. And, there may be a case here where he's not going to be, um, he's not going to get, I mean, he may get more than just a fine. But we'll see what happens with this when they do their investigation and everything. So, but it occurred during a timeout with 20.1 seconds remaining in the Warriors' road win over the Grizzlies. Morant walked towards the Grizzlies bench on the other side of the court. He formed imaginary guns with his fingers on both hands, pointed them towards the Warrior bench with his left arm fully extended. And the referees issued double technical fouls to Morant, and to Buddy Hield. So, but he has been suspended twice. But this seems like another incident where it's maybe it wasn't the coach that was the problem, it's the players that's a problem. Because Memphis has lost 7 of their last 8 games. They slipped to 6th place in the Western Conference. And they are in free fall mode right now. Their coach got fired. Obviously, even though it's just one game, he's not going to be he's not going to – they're going to do something with him. I apologize for going in there. But, something has to be changed here. What they do, I don't know. But, something will be done here. And, it was something that ESPN picked up on. And maybe they have to sit him for a couple of games, and then the Players Association will say, well, this is a separate thing from the guns and blah, 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 but he should know better, especially with everything he's done. And also, but, we'll see what happens with that. I'll try to keep an eye on it. There's no guarantee I'll find it, but, if it's on the main page of Bleacher Brothers, bleacherbrothers.com, check that out. And also check out my articles in the horse racing section. I write those articles every day, whether AJ likes it or not. I guarantee if I go down to Florida at the end of the month, I guarantee you AJ will say, don't write any articles while you're down here. I'm like, dude, I already did. But anyway, so another team that was in free fall was the Sixers this year. and championship dreams went into a bunch of nightmares. And um, um, this is the best I have for it. But anyways, the Sixers announced that Joel Embiid will undergo arthroscopic surgery next week for his troublesome left knee. Why did it take this long? Couldn't you have consulted doctors on the down low when you knew he was going to be down for the year? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. But um, so after he has the surgery, he'll be reevaluated in 6 weeks and is expected to make a full recovery, according to what sources said to Sham Charania, the ESPN insider. Um, so for the past several weeks, Sixers and Embiid were working toward a solution to the knee issues that had dogged him for more than a year and caused him to be ruled out for the season in late February. Those consultations with doctors and specialists ultimately led to the decision for Embiid to have surgery, with the hope being that he can get back to the level he had played in prior seasons. But also remember, he's also 2 years older by the time he gets back to normal or is being injured to normal. That's the question. But the question is, you know, is there something that we just don't know? I mean, is there something? Is this something that it's just going to be going on and on because he is like 30, 31 years old? So now, before the injury, or before he was shut down for the year, um, he said the way I was playing a year ago is not how I'm playing right now, or at that time. He finished with 23.8 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 4.5 assists in just 19 games with the Sixers this year. I mean, the original plan with him was, we're not going to play back-to-back games. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. But um, he never at any point showed he had the form he had of the previous 2 years, um, where he won the MVP in 2023, was on pace to become the second player, along with Will Chamberlain, to average more points than minutes played in 23-24 when Jonathan Kuminga accidentally fell on his leg. Well, he also gave him a cup check as well. I heard Joel Embiid say this briefly. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard him say this.
Oh, my balls!
So I don't know if that's true or not. I thought I saw him mouth that, but I saw him go, ah! But I don't know if it was, oh, my balls. But, yeah, it's, but, your one of your star players gets hurt. It's a bit disconcerting that happened. Um, but so he had a procedure in February last year. He returned in April ahead of the playoffs where he averaged 33, 10.5, or 10.8 rebounds, 5.7 assists, what became a 6-game loss to the Knicks in the first round last year. He went on to play with Team USA in the Paris Olympics. I mean, in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have, but he did struggle outside of playing a significant role in the Team USA's fourth quarter comeback against Serbia in the Olympic semifinal game. Um, but everything that has gone wrong for the Sixers this year has. Embiid was hurt. They shut down Paul George with injuries. He had a myriad of injuries. Um, um, Tyrese Maxey has been struggling with the shooting. He's been hurt most of the second half of the year. He played 52 games with his own set of ailments. Jared McCain, who everybody got real excited at the very beginning of the year because, oh wait, do we have somebody that can be the second guard here? And this is one of those picks where the Sixers picked him up, in the draft, and it was like, whoa, we got a steal here at like 18, 20, whatever the pick was. Um, he was leading contender early on for Rookie of the Year when he suffered a torn meniscus in December, and his season was cut short by injury as well. But um, now the question is, will the Sixers keep their first round pick or not? Now, if the NBA is as fixed as I think it is, that pick will land at number 7, because if it's a one through, if it's between one, if they end up in the lottery between 1 and 6, they end up keeping the draft pick. If it's 7 to 13, 14, whatever it is, I mean, they say on here 7 to 30, but in all actuality, it's from 7 to 14. It goes to Oklahoma City as part of the Al Horford Danny Green swap 5 years ago. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's the one thing with these protected picks. You end up kicking that first round pick in that trade. You keep kicking it down the road, kick it down the road, kick it down the road, kick it down the road. So, you keep kicking it down the road, you're just not going to. I mean, you're going to lose it at the worst time, which is going to be this year, when you probably should get a top draft pick. But the thing is, you know, and I've said it many times in the past, and I said it more when David Stern was the commissioner than Adam Silver. Um, Hey, Gibby, how are you? I hope you're doing well out there. Glad to have you here tonight. And thanks for following me when Chairman rated last week or 2 weeks ago. Cool. Hope that's good. Yeah, just talking sports here and just shooting the shit, the usual thing. Yeah, and I also got two different stupid shit that I saw stories tonight, which, um, that's it's it's my weird story thing. Um, we'll get to that towards the end of the show, and it's definitely something I do. And I like to. Yeah, I don't want to make it in every week or every show appearance. It's something that comes up whenever I see something goofy. So, but we'll see what happens there. So, feel free to chime in. Um, but Embiid, Um, but I just think the way the NBA is, uh, uh, wow, yeah, because I know that I was watching the Bleacher Brothers show before this here, and um, if I had money in my account, I would have had a second half wager on the Cavaliers, because they were down 7 at the half, and AJ was saying how maybe they're just flat tonight or whatever, and they just turned it on in the second half, and they ended up winning by 19 here. So, congrats to them. I mean, the Celtics came out flat; they lost by 21 tonight. Um, DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome played for Cleveland. Cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, probably a little bit of a surprise, but probably not as big a surprise as um, not as big a surprise as some other teams. But they're going to be the number one seed in the East. DeAndre's leading all players in the NBA and shooting off bench. Not sure if he still is. Yeah, I admit I haven't watched too much basketball this year. Between working like I do and then taking an hour and a half off after I get done work and doing my final preps for the show, I end up, I don't really watch much basketball as much as I should. and the same is true for hockey. Like I said earlier in the show, um, there's only so much you can consume. Um, you know, and Gibby says I don't watch all of it either. I just watch my boys, and Sixers were a shit show this year. Flyers, they finally got rid of. They ended up finally firing John Tortorella, and the Flyers are starting to win a couple of games here, ruin that draft lottery prospect. But Steph and the Warriors are getting hot. Yeah, that Jimmy Butler trade really worked out for them. Um, hopefully that stays the case there. Yeah, and unfortunately, Jimmy Butler, should have never left Philadelphia. The Sixers really screwed that up. Yeah, and it's definitely a guy that they could have used in Philadelphia when they chose Tobias Harris over him. So, and that's the thing because they're so old. Um, they may just they may just get into the first round, even though they have the championship pedigree that they've had in the past. It's you got to look at the age as well. Yeah, and you know, and it would be nice to see Cleveland get a ring without LeBron, but um, yeah, Steph already has one. True, um, but so going back to Embiid here and the Sixers, if the pick is 1-6, the Sixers keep it and they kick the can down the road another year to next year's draft. If it ends up 7-14 in the lottery draft, the draft lottery, that pick goes to Kansas City from a trade from 5 years ago. So, um, but and it would also be good to get somebody who, so to speak. I mean, we talked about football many times here on the show. How um, you know how drafting the right players will actually help you with salary cap and stuff like that. And the NFL salary cap is a different thing from the NBA. Everybody has their own every league has their own interpretation of a salary cap. I mean, baseball technically has a salary cap. It's just that even though they call it a tax, a luxury tax. But if you think about it, every team does have their limit. It's just that do we go over this or not? There is no formal cap, but if you think about it, every team has their spending limits, even though a lot of teams do tend to go over. But but the worst part is the Sixers have 4 years and $200 million remaining, over 200 million remaining on this contract here. So. Uh, So, hopefully my Sixers will get back on track next year. Um, I don't know what you do with Nick Nurse. Do you give him one more year? Do you fire him? I don't know. But I do want to tell you about my other show, um, which is also eligible, and I am going to give you the alert here, and there it is. There. Uh, you know, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. on all the platforms. Um, and I am going to get into the story here, and it is a horse racing update that's worth mentioning here. Um, the original plan was to look at up to 6 races. We're going to look at the 2 big races for the Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby, the final prep races at Aqueduct on the New York Road. We're going to look at the Santa Anita Road, even though they're 2 short field races. And we're going to look at Keeneland. Plans have changed. And no, it's not me that's changing the plans here, even though I have to pivot and do something else. And that is because Keeneland, who starts their meet on Friday, and I do apologize. Uh, I had the ringer on, so I apologize for that. And I'm the type of guy that usually has the ringer off 23 hours of the day, or maybe, you know, all 5 days that I work because even though I work at home, do you really want to hear my phone ringing while you're talking to me when you're calling me? Well, my company. Well, not my company, but redacted company. Do you really want to hear that in the background? No, you're not supposed to do that. But I mean, I'm also funny with TV and radio and stuff like that. It's like, do I have it low enough that they can't hear it? So that's something I do. But that's the information for the Bleacher Brothers show here. I don't know why but this program that use called EV Mux, it takes that colon and first slash when it's https colon slash slash, it makes it into um, an emoji on the EV Mux when I highlight that post. Now it comes up fine on Twitch, but for whatever reason, it's doing that goofy stuff here. But I do want to let you guys know we do have a change in plans for Saturday morning. That is because Keeneland has moved their Friday and Saturday cards to Monday and Tuesday, which were called dark days where they don't run live racing. Now, with a dire forecast, as they call it on the daily racing forum, it's supposed to rain for 4 days straight. I mean, um, basically, if you're in the Lexington area or any of the area that's going to be affected by this storm, basically, the best thing I can say is line up 2 by 2. Um, if you want to if you want to act like you're in Finland, you can honor Jimmy Buffett, fins to the left, fins to the right. I love doing that joke, especially when the Olympic ceremonies come on. Hey, they didn't honor Jimmy Buffett, fins to the left, fins to the right. But anyway, so they shifted their first 2 cards of the spring meet, Friday and Saturday, back 3 days each. So the Friday card will go on Monday. The Saturday card will run on Tuesday. And we've seen this flexibility with many different tracks over the last couple of years. They do end up doing things like this. And, Santa Anita's done it numerous times. Oakland's did it a couple of times this year, especially with one of the Kentucky Derby prep races that they had. They moved it from Saturday to Sunday. But they try to do it as far in advance as possible so that the connections know and also the fans know, and also when what will we have for the most optimal conditions, especially on the dirt. Now the turf course where they will have some of their stakes races, which will now be on Monday and Tuesday, may not be able to run on the turf for a few more days after once the rain stops because this me being the weather nerd that I am, the sun angle isn't that high yet, so and it's not that warm yet, so you can't really dry out the turf. You just got to let it dry on its own. So um, so in an issue released earlier tonight, Keeneland said it will monitor track conditions but plan to run Sunday's card as scheduled. That program will now serve as the opening day of their 15-day spring meet with the Grade 2 Beaumont and the $400,000 Beaumont Stakes and $300 Palisade Stakes as co-features. The Friday and Saturday cards will be contested Monday and Tuesday, as I mentioned. The Monday card will be led by the Grade 1 $750,000 Ashland Stakes, which is a prep race for Brendan. Welcome in. Thank you for the update. Um, um, that is a final race through Kentucky for the Kentucky Oaks. And then the Bluegrass, which was scheduled to run on Saturday, will now be run on Tuesday. So So you're going to have 5 stakes on Saturday. That's been shifted to Tuesday. That's going to include the Bluegrass, which is the 3-year-old race for the Kentucky Derby. The Madison, which is a $650 Grade One stakes. The Appalachian, which is a Grade Two race on the turf. The Shakertown, I think that's a turf race as well, and the Commonwealth. Um, so the post times will all be 1 o'clock. First race. Um, Shannon Arvin, the Keeneland president and CEO, said the safety of our equine and human participants as well as our fans is the core of every decision we make. Our team has spent months preparing for opening weekend. We recognize the significant impact of rescheduling our 2 biggest days. While we have navigated challenging weather in the past, um, the conditions being forecast for a region are unprecedented for Keeneland. Yeah, and the when you have the governor declaring the state of emergency before the storm starts hitting, things are going to get bad. And I mean, I haven't really watched the news, so I don't know what's exactly causing it. I mean, I kind of get an idea with weather. When they talk the weather on TV, I kind of have a feel for everything going through. Uh, 2 weather classes at Drexel University to finish up my bachelor's degree. Um, so um, uh, Bashir said, "We need everyone statewide to take this seriously. Tonight we expect tornadoes, dangerous winds, and hail. It's a 4-day event with rain continuing through Saturday. There may be widespread flooding and with impacts felt from west to east. I've signed a state of emergency to ensure that we are ready to respond." And that's the thing, you know. And the one thing I will tell you guys is, the safety of everybody is the most important thing. So, Lexington is under a flood watch from Wednesday evening to Saturday evening. Now, there is a meteorologist at WKYT in Lexington. His name is Chris Bailey. At least I think that's. I think he's. I think that's a male. If it's female, I apologize. I try to get everything correct here. Um, Now, the meteorologist said that the forecast. Okay, it is a male. Uh, he said that the forecast map that he drew up had the highest rainfall numbers in his 27 years of working locally. That's scary. I mean, everybody will say, "Oh, I'm sure they've had it before." Yeah, probably before they may record written records of everything, um, but um, so, the shift in dates mean slightly tighter spacing into the spring classics, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. But, 2 days doesn't make that big of a difference. If you moved it a week, yeah, but 2 days shouldn't make that much of a difference, in my opinion. But it's going to affect it may impact Keeneland's wagering menu on opening weekend. The Bluegrass was linked to 2 other major Kentucky Derby preps, the Santa Anita Derby and Wood Memorial, in the $3 Big Three Pick Three. Say that 3 times real fast. Um, Now, for those that are in Keeneland and you're not affected by the rains too much, they will have general admission on Monday, a free general admission on Monday and Tuesday. Um, but and how historic is this cancellation rescheduling that they're doing here? The last time that the races were canceled at Keeneland was in 2015. On opening day of that spring meet, the final 4 races of the card, including the Transylvania, were scrapped after heavy rainfall. So yeah, you got a lot of, I got something that doesn't happen very often. Heavy rainstorm. I mean, we're talking get the ark out type rains. So if you're in the Kentucky area, or if you're just, even if you have family or friends in that area, just be safe out there. That's the most important thing right now. Um, because, a lot of weather is going to be going through there the next 3 or 4 days. And of course, that means it's going to come here. And the Phillies and the Dodgers may not play a game this weekend if everything looks like they're saying right now. But then again, weather tracks and everything like that, we can be on the northern edge or southern edge or eastern edge. But rain is in the forecast here for the next 4 days, I believe, as well. As we're done with that story here. It's supposed to rain Thursday. It's Thursday. There's a thunderstorm that's coming. Friday, some rain. Saturday, okay. Sunday, it's supposed to rain midday. And then it's supposed to rain again on Monday. Well, I'm working on weekends, so it doesn't matter to me. As long as I have electricity, I'll be working. Hopefully, the worst thing that can happen is the power goes out. I contact the supervisor, or they say, "Oh, call so and so, who's your manager." Oh, you got to go down to the office because I work from home. But in the event that something happens like that, they can tell you to go down to the office. The question is, first of all, is there a computer that I can actually take those calls? And two, will it be safe enough to go down there? Because I'm like, I don't feel safe going down there because of all the weather. But that's something that would be up for debate if that were to happen. But hopefully, no power outages like I did not have one on Monday night. So now it's fitting that we talk Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky, because I also have an interesting story here that's part of this random segment that I have from time to time. And I have 2 baseball ones here tonight. And, and the thing is, I don't go looking for these stories for those that are watching for the first time. I'm the type of person where it's something that if I find it, I'll use it. But if I'm not going to go out of my way to search it, because I can talk about other things as well, or we may, who knows? Maybe we change formats a little bit, and I have guests on the show or whatever. I know I have a couple of people in mind, even for also eligible, but Lexington is the home of the University of Kentucky Wildcats, and they play in the SEC. And they played Texas A&M this past weekend. So there was a bit of a controversy with a baseball game on Sunday. So what I am going to do, I'm going to share my screen. I'll let you see what happened here. Hopefully it'll be on the. It won't be muted if you watch it after the fact here on twitch.tv/Joe Quills or on YouTube, whether it's my YouTube or in the bleachers, basically the ESPN2 of Bleacher Brothers. So here we go. So I'm going to play this here, and I'll give you an idea. I'll show you what happened, and I'll give you some background after the fact here. So let me do this. And I will share my screen, and I'll discuss this a little bit in a second.
Control that, how long you can take in between pitches. I've never come down to the wire never seen a game come down like this.
This is one of the more interesting dynamics I've seen in quite some time.
20 seconds. So this clock is ticking. I guarantee you're going to see Novi take all 20 seconds.
Well, at this point, if you're Ben Royal, do you just swing at 3 pitches?
It won't matter. 20 seconds, it's over.
Well, he pulled back on a pitch. Out of the zone.
45 seconds.
It's like basketball now. The clock is ticking.
He should have whiffed. I don't think he can get there.
Yeah, I don't know if you...
Now the catcher needs an intentional walk. You want to throw balls here.
Oh, this meeting on the mound. Now, Mike Early has something to say about this. Well, that'll do it. This is A&M's last chance now. And Mike Early may be directing this at Nick Mingione. You have to know if you're Mingione, this won't sit well with the other side.
This is why the warning should have been said 2 innings ago.
Yeah, now Nick Mingione's firing back. Now here's my question. Is there a post-game handshake, and what does that look like?
Well, if there is, it ain't going to be pleasant. I would guess probably not.
Are there more words exchanged if there is?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
I'm pretty sure you're going to have the umpiring crew right around home plate for it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Nick Mingione has a history of not making friends here at Bluebell Park, so this is, in my opinion, it's par for the course.
I've seen it before. 2017, his first year at Kentucky, it got pretty heated late in that series.
Yeah, I mean, when
it looked a lot like this.
Well,
back in Bender up to center field, tracking back at the track, at the wall, and making the catch up against the wall in center field, Griffin Cameron, and that will end the ball game. The Wildcats win it 10-5 today, and they take the series. A&M won it Friday. Kentucky wins it on Saturday and Sunday. Mike Early awaits the post-game handshake. It's brief, but it's, I guess you'd call it cordial. And the Wildcats will fly back to Lexington with a series victory.
Helps if I turn the microphone on, so let me give myself one of those. So let's get into what happened and some of the rules of the SEC. Now, when you have a weekend series like this is, the SEC has a specific rule in play, and the rules of the conference are going to come into play with the next story as well. But there is a rule in the SEC that no game or no new inning can start after 4:30 on a getaway Sunday to allow the student athletes to get back to campus so they go back to school tomorrow. Go back to school on Monday. So that's the rule. And Kentucky knew the rule, and they were ahead. And what they did was they did a little bit of gamesmanship. And, you see it in soccer. You see it in other sports. Even though soccer is trying to get away from that. And I wish Pork Chop was here right now because he might be able to explain it a little bit better. But they have okay, if the goalie's going to possess the ball like that, he's got to get rid of it in 8 seconds. So I don't know the whole semantics of that rule yet. I don't think it's in effect as of yet, but it's soon. But you could see there, but with the with the transmitters that they have to call pitches now, you could very easily just say, "Hey, this ain't working," and that's what they did on there because they knew they didn't want to play another inning, even though they were up 5 runs. So they're thinking, all right, well, let's make sure we're still in the bottom of the eighth at 4:30 because now they won't play that ninth inning. Now I don't know when the game started or anything like that, so I don't know. I don't know anything with some of the things that were going on there. So, um, but yeah, you did see the two managers or head coaches. I don't know if you call them managers or head coaches. I should know that because AJ did interview um, the FAU baseball coach or manager, whatever he is, and whatever the term is. But Kentucky seemed to take advantage of the curfew rule in the 10-5 win over Texas A&M on Sunday, flaring tempers in both dugouts. The Wildcats appeared to have a problem with their communication device. Bullshit. While they were pitching with 2 outs in the eighth, leading to a mound visit that ensured another inning would not be played on Sunday. Now, I think that video, was a little doctored, a little bit edited by ESPN and uploaded to their YouTube page. Now, as I said before, and this is the actual wording from ESPN when they posted this article on the website. SEC rules do not allow a new inning to start after 4:30 p.m. when a series ends on a Sunday, giving the road team more time to travel so that students are in a better position to attend class the following day. Wait a second. Wait. We have breaking news here. We have breaking news. The conferences are worried about the kids going to class? Are you effing serious? And I don't have a good drop for that. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't. Not yet. But anyways, you do have that going on. And, it just seems a little weird. But, I would have done the same thing if I was the Kentucky manager. I don't want to play a fifth inning. And you could see the frustration coming out on the Texas A&M manager, head coach, whatever he is, because think about it. Because of the fact that, and I'm pulling up a video here. But it's a bit of gamesmanship, and you see it in soccer a lot. You see it, every once in a while. My God, college basketball before the shot clock, and this tends to come up in states in high school basketball where there's no shot clock, and a lot of states don't have shot clock rules because it's all a budgetary issue. Because not only do you have to get the equipment and you got to install it, you also have to have somebody operate it, which means you got to pay somebody, and a lot of times you don't have the funds to install it or even do that. So a lot of times that's why, like, especially Pennsylvania, there is no shot clock in high school ball. If you really wanted to, you could play four corners, the Dean Smith four corners offense, and you just sit there, you let the clock run down, and the next thing you know, you take a shot with 10 seconds left in the quarter, and that's the quarter. So, and I think we're going to see a lot of gamesmanship even with NFL with the new rule that each team has to have a possession in the regular season. Oh, but we're still going to keep it at 10 minutes. But um, so but the Wildcats did seal the victory, avoiding a ninth inning that potentially would have given Texas A&M another chance to come back. I mentioned you could see the frustration in Texas A&M. They were number one in the preseason poll by D1Baseball.com. With that loss, they dropped to 13-14 overall and 1-8 in the SEC. So not the start to the season they expected, and a lot of things going on. That was really a weird story that came up, and things happen to do so. But let me just check one thing here, and we'll get to our second stupid shit that I saw story, which is also college baseball related. Okay, so we're going to get to our second story here. I muted myself for a second because I didn't want to play any audio to give it away, but I don't know. I don't know what video to play here because I had two different videos here. You know what? Let's go with this TikTok video. Screw it. So let's go here, and we will let Sky Speed on TikTok tell you about what happened between Jacksonville State and the Liberty Bibbities of Liberty University.
Stuff going on with Liberty University baseball as they play at Jacksonville State. It's the first game of a doubleheader, and the top of the first inning goes off fine. In the bottom of the first, Liberty starting pitcher Ben Blair takes the mound, throws one pitch, it's fouled off, and the game ends. Jacksonville State wins a 9-0 forfeit. So how did this happen? Well, it turns out Liberty forgot to put Ben Blair on their roster. Both teams had to submit 27-player rosters before the series, and Jacksonville State manager Steve Beazer noticed that Blair just wasn't on it. So he waited until Blair threw a pitch, brought a copy of his roster out to the umps. They took a look and went, yep, he's ineligible. They initially just took him out of the game, but they didn't really know what to do. So after calling Conference USA headquarters, getting out a binder copy of the rulebook, and spending 22 minutes deliberating, it was determined that Liberty using an ineligible player results in a 9-0 forfeit win for Jacksonville State, concluding what has to be one of the shortest Division I baseball games of all time. They moved the second game of the doubleheader 2 hours up to compensate, and then Liberty lost that one 6-1 as well. Not a great day for them. Incredible stuff going on with Liberty University baseball as they play at Jacksonville.
Okay, so there you hear what happened. Liberty used an ineligible player, and I don't know if it's a situation like Major League Baseball where you have a 26-man roster, and okay, since we have a doubleheader, we're going to add a 27th guy. So I don't know some of the ins and outs of the rules of Conference USA, but Conference USA has a rule that is specific to their conference. They have a rule that states a team has to forfeit if it utilizes an ineligible player in a game. So that's why you had about 10 minutes worth of game time, if that. And then, oh, by the way, you forfeit. And, well, it took about, they did say it took 22, there was a 22-minute delay here, but, kudos to the umpires for doing the right thing here. Probably, even though these are probably Conference USA umpires specific to the conference, or they just may be regional umpires that are Division One certified or whatever. I don't know. And if somebody knows it, feel free to tell me. You know, I won't. Um, you know, I'm always willing to learn. Um, so they, so they ended up. Kudos to them because it's like, all right, well, we know he's an eligible player. We know he's not on the roster. He's not in the lineups. He's not in. He's not on that card. So, you know, and this has happened once in a while in Major League Baseball, but not to the point where you forfeit the game. Now, probably after the fact. Now, I understand why the Jacksonville State umpire or the manager said, you know what? He's not on this list, and probably conferring with his coaching staff. You know, I'm correct here. He's not on this list, right? You know, and once you use that player, I mean, but the thing is, you do have if the Liberty Bibbities manager has the wherewithal to say, "Oh shit, I fucked up. Let me change pitchers here real quick." Get one of your relievers and just use them as an opener here because, oh crap, and even make something up. Oh, the guy hurt his groin. He pulled a groin his own. Whatever you do, whatever you have to do it. But somewhere along the way, something happened that they just totally whiffed on this. And it does happen from time to time, but um, I don't know how long that manager has coached college baseball or even amateur baseball of any sort, because I could see it happening from time to time, like it did over the weekend. But kudos to the umpire because they did the most important thing. They took the ball from him when the umpire came out, when the manager came out. So they did everything they were supposed to do. Okay, give me the ball. And then I'm guessing these umpires aren't necessarily Conference USA umpires. Maybe they're just umpires that just work the region. I don't know. That's where I wish I had a college baseball expert of some sort at my disposal. So they ended up, they conferred. It's like probably, they don't know what's going on. So, so they end up asking around. They did the right thing, calling the Conference USA offices and say, "Hey, what do we do here?" And then they referred to the book. Uh, Luckily, they did have a rule book there, even though that probably would look weird in Major League Baseball because you're expected to know everything. But, um, they went through the rule book, the binder where the rule book was in. It's like, oh, there it is. So they conferred everything, and from what it seems like Liberty didn't have much of an argument because they knew once it was brought up, hey, you screwed up, and hey, we gotta forfeit you gotta forfeit this game because it's in the bylaws of the conference, and it went from there. So, so yeah, so it turns out, as Sky Sports, was it? Sky Speed on TikTok said in this video, um, somewhere, I don't know what happened, but, you know, turns out it turns into a forfeit, a 9-0 forfeit, because that would be a 9-inning game. So then they played the second game starting at 3 o'clock. I guess the first game was at 1 o'clock or something. They were going to play 1 and 5 or something like that. But, you know, those things happen from time to time, and, just some weird things that happen from time to time. Um, but Liberty lost 2 or 3. Uh, they had to forfeit that game when that pitcher was not on the roster for the weekend. There was a game on Friday. There was a doubleheader on Saturday. Ben Blair, who was the pitcher, was scheduled to start in game 2, and the Jacksonville State manager took notice. And, and the thing is, he played. I think he played that perfectly, because when you think about it, if you take the pitcher out before you even start, it's like, oh, we had to change pitchers here. And I don't know what the rule. I mean, there's probably some goofy rule in the Conference USA. It says, well, whoever's named the starting pitcher has to throw a pitch. But, you could have a guy who ends up getting hurt in the bullpen, for all we know. But I don't think this was. I mean, you could say it's gamesmanship even from Jacksonville State, but it's a smart move if you ask me, because make sure he throws that pitch, because then he's technically in the game and it's over. So it was an interesting thing there. And a lot of the people that were commenting on X about this, Jacksonville State boasted about over the win and caught some flack from some of the users on the platform. One user said, super unclassy by Jack State staff to wait until after the first pitch. That's not sportsmanship. It's extremely disappointing. Well, I don't know who these people are, because it didn't pick up on the printout here and I didn't investigate who they were. But think about it. You could have a pitcher tweak something, blow out an elbow, even in the bullpen warming up. So if that was going to be the case, then guess what? You can, or if the umpire, or if the Liberty manager, like I said before, notices the error, no, come here. I didn't have you on the roster. We got to make sure, I got to make it look like you're hurt, okay? Something like that. So, you got to do what you got to do. But I don't think it's unclassy if the Jacksonville State manager did it. I think it's a genius move, because you throw one pitcher technically in the game. You get you get stats for that. You get an appearance. You probably take the loss in the matchup. It's a genius move by the umpire, by the manager, if you ask me. Another person wrote, I'm a JSU fan. I'm really embarrassed by that Bush League move. No, it's not Bush League. This happens from time to time. It's not that common, but you have somebody that's not on the roster. Sorry, you got to leave. Some did side with Jacksonville State as well. In that Liberty should not have had an advantage by using a 28th man off an eligible roster. Well, I don't necessarily think it was a 28th man. I just think that they didn't realize he was not on the list, if you ask me. an ex-user said, perhaps the Liberty head coach will pay more attention to filling out his series roster card in the future since it was his error. Yeah, and he admits it was an error. He said it was. Liberty said the mishap was a clerical error, according to Bryson Gordon of NewsAdvance.com. And you know what? I don't have a problem with what Jacksonville State did. But it is a weird story here that happens every once in a while, and unfortunately it happened on Saturday. Now, Liberty had won the opener 9-8. They forfeited the first game on Saturday. They lost the second game 6-1 to Jacksonville State, and they are Liberty is 19-10 in the season. Blair holds an ERA right now of 2.67, which with metal bats and everything like that ain't too shabby. So, but yeah, that's something I did not expect to see, and I saw it over the weekend, and it was interesting to say the least. So anyways, so just to give you guys the news, just to let you guys know, also eligible will be live on Saturday, but we will not have Keeneland at our disposal. That is because Keeneland has canceled racing on Friday and Saturday. The Friday races will now be run on Monday. The Saturday races will be run on Tuesday. So everything gets shifted 72 hours later. And so we'll be looking at Aqueduct and Santa Anita on Saturday and possibly something else. I'll take a look if something's going on there, or it just may be a shorter show this upcoming Saturday. And I believe I'm off on Tuesday, so we may do a Tuesday show looking at the Keeneland card because they got 5 stakes races, and we'll see if they keep the races on the turf or not, because they are going to get deluged with historical rains over the next 4 days. So just want to let you know what's going on with that. So that is it for this show. I do appreciate each and every one of you that took the time to watch here over the last hour and a half on YouTube, on Twitch, on X, everywhere. And we will do it live again tomorrow night. What are we going to do, Bill O'Reilly? We are going to... Where are you? Shit. I've loaded it on... Oh, here it is. What are we going to do, Bill?
Do it live!
What?
Do it live!
What?
Do it live!
Oh, we're going to do it live. Yeah, we will do it live. And we're going to have fun doing it, too. And I don't know, I don't have a good sound drop here. And I got to tell you about my shows. Oh, come on, play, damn it. The fuck? I'm going to get like...
But sometimes make me good, sometimes make me shit.
Yeah, I have to warn you about my shows.
Sometimes make me good, sometimes make me shit.
But anyways, that's it for the show. And what we're going to do is, those that are on Twitch, this is why you need the main stream has to be Twitch, because I get to do this with you guys. We are going to rate Streamlabs. Or not Streamlabs, Action Labs. As soon as I find them on here. There we go. So we're going to go there and let's have some fun. So those that are on Twitch, we're going to Action Labs. Those that are not on Twitch, on X, and on YouTube, go to twitch.tv/Joe Quills and give me a follow, and we'll have some fun on Twitch. So we're going to raid out, and I will see you guys tomorrow night with the weekend edition of the show, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. So have a great night, everybody, and I will see you in the winner's circle. Good night, everybody.